Yo guys, imagine having tens of thousands of dollars worth of analog outboard gear and you're like, why even have this in my studio? I'm going to use one plugin. That's what happened to me. So I had a commercial studio back in 2020. You guys saw me film it a lot and I gave away my gear ever since. And I was always chasing that analog sound. So I said, why don't I just create it for myself? So let me show you guys something. All right. So, and for those who really know, you guys saw me using services like Analog or Access Analog for like months on the highest plan, which is like $150 a month just to access analog gear that I had at the studio, tens of thousands of dollars worth. All right, so here's a beat we made the other day or last night. And here's before the processing. So it's not overly done mastering. It's just pulling out the details of the song. So I'm gonna wait till the drums come in. Let's turn it back off. All right, so this is called the BusyWorks Beats AI Mastering 2 plugin, and shout out to Timbaland. He posted this to his story. I really appreciate that because he didn't have to do that. It doesn't mean Timbaland endorses this plugin or my plugin company. It's just nice of him to have shared the post. I didn't ask him or I didn't even tell him about the plugin. He just shared on his own accord. So I want to thank him for that publicly. So what we're going to do though is use this on different style tracks. So let me show you guys how this changes the way you even do your drums. All right, so here, let's say you're a sound designer, for example. I love Addictive Drums, man. They just have some of the best sounding drums ever. I have zero things to say negative about this company or this plugin. So I'd highly recommend that you guys go out and cop it. But let's say you want to shape your drums in your own tone. So what we're going to do is turn off some of the overhead mics. Actually, let's just keep everything the way it is right now. And we're just going to process it through the new plugin just to show you guys it's way more than mastering. The way this plugin was developed and the reason it's called AI mastering is because this was built to master AI music and clean it up and make it more like have more depth. So that's where the name actually came from. My bad, y'all, I got like 7 apps going. So that's where the name came from, as BusyWorks Beats AI Mastering. It came from the fact that we were mastering AI music. It does have some elements of AI in here that automate the process of mastering as well. But the main thing are these 3 big knobs. So let's just turn these 3 big knobs up for this drum set, just to show you guys it's way more than just mastering. You can actually sound design with this. Let's turn it up. Now for the clean, we don't necessarily need clean. These drums are already clean. Let's just turn up the loud meter here. So here's before. And just turning that one knob up adds so much clarity. Now the real secret though is this analog button up top. When you turn this on, the sound jumps out of the speaker. Let's turn it on. So here's before. Here's after. It just adds a depth and analog depth that I've heard in no other plugin. Let's turn this up. This is on British console mode. This also adds like a dimension to the sound. And now we can combine this with the loud meter here. And we can also run our drums through vintage drum machine. So let's switch it to sampler mode and just turn up the vintage mode. And it will add that classic old school drum machine sound like it came from an MPC. Let's crank the input. And then now we're just balancing the inputs and outputs. So here's before. And we didn't even touch all the features. We can add parallel compression in here. Let's do that. We could add upward compression to kind of pull up the detail. And now my new features in the version 2, we have now a super advanced area. So this is where the secret sauce is for sound designers. If you turn on envelope shaping, this is going to add density to your drum. So if you turn this up and then turn the shape down, feel that density, the weight. And then we can pull back the mix level here. So again, here's before. All right, so let's turn on the hidden boost. Just adds a little more dimension. it opens up the top of that kick and the snare and the hi-hat. Again, here's before. Here's after. I hope you guys understand, to get this type of sound, you would have to spend tens of thousands of dollars on analog gear, tens of thousands, or pay hundreds of dollars a month just to access real analog gear. I've done it. You guys have seen me on live streams use it. Now what I'm going to do is do more of a sound designer's approach. We're going to turn off a lot of these effects. Let's turn off all the compression and any tape and distortion. And let's do this per channel as well. So let's go to the hi-hats. Let's make sure we're turning off any tape or compression. So now we're going to get more of a dry sound. So the drums are meant to sound very dry. That's kind of the point. And then we sound design around these. So for example, turn this kick off. This tape. Now, if you are sound designers, for example, if you want to reshape drums like this, for example, just slap on the AI mastering, and let's actually start from scratch. Now what we're going to do is turn up the input so we could let's keep the levels where they are. Okay. And let's start doing stuff. So firstly, actually, let me turn up the input so you guys can hear. We're going to hit it with the analog. This is going to give it that immediate jumping out at you. It's like the drums are coming through the screen. So again, here's before. Here's after, just that one button. Okay, let's turn up the British console to give it more dimension. So even if you're trying to be like a transparent sound designer, you can go into this machine without like slamming it through a limiter. So let's try the more advanced tab. This is where we're going to get more of that detail. Let's add our envelope shaper. We also have this area where you can add like that tape compression sound. So I'm going to have to push into this a little bit harder. So listen to the snare. Here's before. So it has like a to the snare, and you can blend this in. A little subtle detail people overlook. All right, let's turn on the envelope again. So right now the signal is being pushed through the limiter. So let's make sure we're gain staging and leveling into it properly. All right, so there's clippers in here. There's 1,000 things we can get into. I'm trying to like show you guys the fast stuff. We also have a smart clip in here, which is a different sound when you clip it than your typical clipper. We also have clippers built in. So if you guys want to add more detail here, here's some more clippers. And again, that drum machine, we could add that in. So now we're creating our own texture on the sound. So here's before. We can also reshape the stereo image. There's another button here called stereo wide. This is different than stereo width. It's using crosstalk. Now drums don't have that much stereo information to be moving around, but this is for sound designer. You want to mess with that for sure. Now the advanced tab is just the EQ. We're not going to mess with that. The only thing I'm going to do is reset the 250. Let's add the compressor. So now we have a whole different drum sound. Let's take off this clipper so that we can use the smart clip. This is that crunch you guys hear, that's the sound of it. We're just dialing that in a little bit. Here's before. Now remember, these are dry drums. So again, we could do more clipping if we want. We also have a clean clipper for more of that knock that you guys are familiar with. So here's before. I'll even turn it up so you guys can hear. It's boomy, it's, you know, the sounds are good, but when you process it, it's a different beast. So I'm telling you guys, let's mute that for now. This tool has replaced so many reasons that I reach for outboard gear. So the first reason is to get a texture on my drums because I sound design and I like to run through analog gear to get a depth on my drums. Like for example, the whole, if you guys go to busyworksbeats.com/black, you guys know it comes with every sound we've ever created, plus all our plugins, plus 90 plus music production courses. And as I was sound designing this, there's a pack called, man, I have so many things in here. It's called 8-08s. And there's 1,000 808s in this one pack. And it's processed through a ton of analog gear. Okay, different styles of analog gear to create texture. Just on 808s. That's just a whole pack of 1,100 808s, just all going through analog circuitry, just to get a small different texture each time. So that was the first reason I would run to outboard gears to get that texture. The second is to get a depth. And as you guys can hear, the plugin adds a natural depth. It's not this staticky, loose, soft, powdery sounding thing. It actually adds dimension to your tracks without even doing anything. You're really just turning two knobs, the British knob and the analog knob. And I'll show you guys on different styles of music. So the first reason I go to analog is for unique textures. The second is that depth that you get from analog is different than digital plugins. And that's what we've coded inside of this new plugin called BusyWorks Beats AI Mastering to a busyworksbeats.com/AI Mastering. And the third reason I would go to analog is for loudness, but also harmonic richness. Okay, and that's what we've added in this plugin too. There's so many different ways you can add harmonics. So what I'm going to do is demonstrate this on, let me pull up a track. All right, so here we actually have an AI generated song from Google's Lyria 3 Pro. They claim to train on ethical stuff, just for those who want to know. And we're going to play this through the new tool, and we're going to start from scratch just to show you guys all the different harmonic richness we can get out of this. So here's, oh, my plugin's still playing. I was wondering what that sound was. Let's get rid of that. Now let's play the audio. And we're going to just give it different styles so that we're not locked to one sound. I think one of the biggest frustrations with plugins nowadays is you have to load a plugin for every specific sound you want. Like for a bright tone, you might load up one plugin. For a triode type tone, you might load up a different plugin. For vocals, you might load up a different plugin. This plugin does so much all in one that it's my own command center for mixing. Basically, I don't have to run to 10,000 plugins unless it's something very, very, very specific. I'm not saying this plugin can do anything, but we've seen it mix vocals as well, which if you guys remind me, I'll show you guys that. So here's a smoother sample. Now let's give it texture. You instantly feel it becomes real when you turn the analog button on. It just instantly becomes real. Here's before. Now again, remember, I initially built this plugin to clean up AI music because AI music has a lot of like hiss and a lot of frequencies that are very sharp and sibilant. And so I built this to clean that up, but it ended up turning into a whole tool for so many things: drum sound design, cleaning up your AI samples, now mastering. So it turned into this whole different tool as I was building it. Now this is Google. They have a very clean sonic, so you don't need to clean much about their generations because they're training off of like the full multi-tracks, not just stem extraction. But let's mess with the clean knob just to show you guys. Let's turn it on, duh. Right now let's add the bass. So again, here's before. Let's add the analog depth with the console. Let's add some loudness. Now this song does not need to be screamingly loud. So there are certain genres where you're not just gonna crank this knob. Like this one, we're not gonna crank it just to crank even have a button. If you click this AI EQ button, it cleans up different things. It was meant for vocals, so this isn't meant for everything. But if, for example, if we turn it on, it will find the hot spots in the song and turn them down or turn them up. So let's click that little button, and it will adjust your EQ for you. Now, it does make dramatic changes, so I would not recommend this for anything outside of vocals, but I'm just showing you guys for this song. So here's before. Here's after. Now, we might not need to use the EQ move and the clean knob, so this is kind of like where you guys can create your own style. Now, the AI tamer is specifically built for AI music. I wouldn't recommend it on human-made stuff unless it's like really badly recorded, but you guys can mess with this if your song just has too much AI-ness in it. Just turn that on. It will get rid of a lot of those buildups. So let's just use the AI EQ. And it just balances out the song a little bit more. So even without the clean knob, you guys can use that. There's different presets for vocals here. Let's add in a couple more features on the back end. Before. And we didn't even use all the tools because I don't want to overly process this, but I'm just showing you guys who needs to run the analog. When we get that analog depth, we get the analog texture, and we get that analog density from this plugin. Because once you use this envelope shaper, the density it just sits there. Let's open up another, let's do a vocal this time. So now the question becomes, why buy a $3,000, CL1B? Why sit there and get a whole rack unit of 1176s, LA2As, preamps, if you're going Neve or even the Bay preamps, for example, BAE. So it's like you would have to spend, I don't think people understand too, the cost of analog is more than just the cost, because you also have to think about, if you buy one piece, you're going to need this other piece. You're going to need special cables. You're going to need, to make one piece work, you're going to need like 4 pieces of analog gear. So you're not looking at $1,000 bill. You're looking at like $4,000, $5,000 bill, if that's on the low end. So I said, why am I spending so much money just for stuff to ultimately break anyway? So here's the AI, the vocal. Let's add the AI to it. Let me, hold up. My bad, I'm running like 7 apps. All right, let's do this again. So here's before. What we doing right here is magic. Out the hood, fresh from a lot of the trafficking. Serve white, brown, Asian, and African. The South took hip-hop, the West took it back again. In a low rider, gold dating, spokes by it's me, I'm the ghost rider. More paper, more fire, but it's one nation under the empire. And I'm up chasing dough like I'm inspired. And the crazier part about this vocal processing is I only moved 3 things. I turned on the analog, I turned on the British console, and then I went to the super advanced mode and turned on the envelope shaping. That's all I did to get the sound the way it is. So again, you guys can use these knobs. So let's start from scratch, for example. So let's say you don't know anything about mixing, which is fine. You could just turn these knobs. But the first thing I recommend is turning on this analog button up here. That's just gonna make any music just jump out and be real. Now let's go to the British console down here and turn this up. And from here, we're just going to turn the loud knob up. Out the hood, fresh from a lot of the trafficking. Serve white, brown, Asian, and African. The South took hip-hop, the West took it back again. In a low rider, gold dating, spokes by it's me, I'm the ghost rider. More paper, more fire. So here's before. But it's one nation under the empire. And I'm up chasing dough like I'm inspired. Watch me weave through traffic. Here's after. Fitted on with my B-suit jacket. Don't get hyped, don't believe the madness. What we doing right here is magic. Just super clean vocals without even doing too much. The only thing this EQ is doing beforehand is cutting out the lows because there's a little AC hum. And then the Pro G2 is just removing some of the background noise. So those are handling those specific things. So for example, can this plugin remove background noise? No, it's not built for that. Now, is it built for high pass filtering to get rid of also rumble? Not necessarily. Initially, I did have a high pass filter, which I might bring back into it, but I don't want this to be a trying to be everything plugin. So for that reason, I took it away.
Watch me weave through traffic, dodge and fit it on with my beats.
So let's solo just the vocal.
Watch me weave through traffic,
and let's hear the textural difference here. Let's start from scratch again.
Don't get hyped, don't believe the madness.
All right, let's turn on the analog.
Here is magic, out the hood, fresh from a lot of the trafficking.
See how this jumps out?
Brown, Asian, and African.
Let's add the console. This is what adds dimension.
To get back again in a low rider, gold dating spokes by it's me. I'm the ghost rider, more paper.
Just with those two changes, if I didn't touch anything else, it just became way more real, way more high quality. So here's before.
Watch me weave through traffic, dodge and fit it on with my V-suit jacket. Don't get hyped, don't believe the
Here's
madness. After. What we doing right here is magic.
See how we added this 3D dimension? It's like not only did it jump out of the screen, but there's like this low mid dimension going on. And just those two buttons do so much. And then from here, like I said, you guys would just turn up the loud meter.
Watch me
now we also have more tools. If you guys, I'm trying not to make this a whole tutorial, but we also have tools like clarity, for example, and high clean. Clarity is going to take care of the side image. It just depends on your guys' take.
Watch me weave through traffic.
But you could mess with this just to clean up some of the side.
Don't believe the madness. What we doing right here is magic.
So it just depends on you guys' mix, and if you need that. High clean is more if you have super bright harmonies on the side or like backing vocals on the side and they're just building up in the high frequencies. That's what that's for. So for now, we're just going to turn this off. We're not going to need that.
Watch me weave through traffic. Dodge and fit it on with my V-suit jacket. Don't get hyped, don't believe the madness.
Turn up the loudness.
What we doing right here is magic. Out the hood, fresh from
and it's like, who needs a distressor? Who needs an 1176? Who needs a, whatever special compressor? We can literally build that tone here.
Watch me weave through traffic.
And it has that analog depth. Here's before.
Don't get hyped, don't believe the madness.
Here's after. Let's add some envelope shaping.
Right here is magic. Out the hood, fresh from a lot of the trafficking. Serve white, brown.
So this is how we get that distressor type of pull on the sound, or this is how we get, I'm trying to think what other compressors like this. Even, I would say the Tegler Cream, but that's more for like drum sound design.
Watch me weave through traffic. Dodge and fit it on with my V-suit jacket. Don't get hyped, don't believe the madness. What we doing right here is magic. Out the hood, fresh from a lot of the trafficking. Serve white, brown, Asian, and African. The South took hip-hop, the West took it back again. In a low rider, gold dating spokes by it's me. I'm the ghost rider,
And if we want different, saturations on the sound, we just go back to the front panel and switch out the saturation. Let's switch it to magnetic tape. Just a little bit brighter.
Watch me weave through traffic. Dodge and fit it on with my V-suit jacket.
So it just depends on what you guys want.
Don't get hyped, don't believe the madness. What we doing right here is magic. Out the hood, fresh from a lot of the trafficking. Serve white, brown, Asian.
So it's like, bro, why would I go out and spend $10,000 just to do this with potential dropouts in the audio, dealing with outboard gear? Outboard gear has so many downsides. It is a good sound, but you in order to get the entire sound that you guys want, you're going to be spending a lot of money. Okay. And I've even done the subscriptions from Access Analog. And I can tell you guys that $150 a month to Access Analog sounds fun at first, which it is fun. I'd actually recommend you guys at least try it once. And then you realize like the service is like the gear you want to choose is always taken by somebody right at the wrong time. Over time, you're like, I don't know. I can't explain it. I'm not going to speak for everybody. But my experience, the company's awesome. I definitely would recommend you guys go sign up for at least the unlimited subscription for 1 month just to try out, to hear the difference between digital plugins and analog. Once you have that difference, you can come back to this video and be like, wow, yeah, digital plugins sound nothing like analog. So here's the before.
Don't get hyped, don't believe the madness.
Here's after.
What we doing right here is magic. Out the hood, fresh from a lot of the trafficking.
Like that's a sound that would cost you $10,000 of a chain. You're talking about going through a preamp. Now, can this plugin correct bad recording technique? No. Like for example, when I pulled up the, the envelope shaper, you can hear some of the rumble from the AC unit because I was recording right under a vent like a dumb guy. Okay, I forgot to turn off the air.
Watch me weave through traffic.
So if you listen closely, there is a little bit of AC unit. So keep in mind that's after me running through a filter, a high pass filter, and after me running through a gate, and it's still in the recording. So can it fix bad recordings? Not necessarily, but it can deal with resonant, frequencies that you just can't target. That's what this AI tamer is for, and also this area down here when you turn up the clean knob. So it all starts with the recording ultimately, but as you guys can see, you can apply this to You're texturizing. You can apply this to harmonic distortions. You can apply this to vocals, drums, full tracks, AI music, human music. This thing turned into a beast I didn't even expect. So that's what I wanted to show you guys, is the one thing that made a huge difference. I used to seek the sound. I used to pay $150 a month to get this sound now, and I spent thousands of dollars to have it before. But now it's like, why would I do that when I have this plugin? So just go to busyworksbeats.com/AI mastering to learn more about this plugin. I want to thank you guys for watching. It's Game from busyworksbeats.com. Peace out, guys.